Hi guys, I'm Becky and welcome to my channel. So if this is your first time joining us, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Today we're just going to be going over the month of November for me, talking about the dividends that I made, my stock portfolio and how it's done with all the market volatility, and just personal projects that I've been working on. So here we go. So November has been a really good month for me. I cranked out a lot of work that was kind of backlog and piling up. Now, there's still quite a bit that needs to be worked through, but I made a huge push in the last couple of weeks and really did a number on that. And then I've started to see some numbers as far as the data and statistics behind site visitation and engagement with individuals in the community and around the world has gone up quite a bit with both this finance website and my photography stuff. So I'm really excited about that. And I feel like I found a good workflow groove with working from home and working on my own projects and my own business ideas and dealing with Jackson, who's bugging me right now. So I feel like I've really gotten a good workflow going and I'm really starting to see a lot of progress being made. So I did 3 main posts this last month besides my update from last October. So the first post I did, if you haven't heard about it, is the Great Resignation. It's a big thing that's going on. A lot of people are leaving their jobs. Millions of people are leaving their jobs. And so I just did a post kind of talking about what that is and if you should quit your job. The second post that I did is actually talking about food storage and what you can expect with the supply chain shortages and if you should really have it, which you should. And then the last post that I did was actually just talking about water service line coverage and if it's something that you and your household should invest in to protect yourself. The one thing that I did not get up and rolling this month was my podcast. Jackson, come here, sit down. So the one thing that I actually did not get up and running this month was the podcast Careers at a Glance. Now, to be quite honest, it's something that's making me stressed out a little bit, feeling a little bit inadequate, showing some vulnerability from my side as far as what that looks like engaging with people in that type of scenario, and honestly just putting myself completely out there. I mean, it's just it's just hard, and so I'm struggling with it. I care more about the people that I know personally, like I genuinely care about, more than I do like the general public. Because I've had people like, oh, what if somebody says blah blah blah, and I'm like, somebody says, like, they can say that, but if it's like a family member or a close friend or someone that I've grown up with, that's a whole different ballgame. So nerves are getting to me. It's still in the works though. I do plan on moving forward with it. Something that I've talked about for a while, so it's coming. I just gotta, work it out in my head. So other than work stuff, I've been putting a lot of time and effort into getting healthy and losing the much needed weight that I have been sort of kind of working on, not really, it should have been. So it is now full front and center, something that I am putting a lot of like actual physical effort into. I mean, cleaner, I'm exercising now 5 to 6 times a week. Actually, right now I'm doing a 3-day split where I'm doing a push-pull and lower body work movement twice a week with 1 day off on the weekends. And I'm starting to see some really good results with the weights, but not so much on the scale yet. But that will come. I just need to keep putting in the work and patiently waiting for the scale to show what I've been doing. So I did one of the things that I typically have done, and most people that weightlift or do any type of physical activity have like a baseline test so they can see where they're at numbers wise and correlate that to where they've been and where they're going and reflect that in their training. And so I did that. I did a bench press, back squat, and deadlift test, and I hit 110 pound bench press, a 145 pound back squat, and a 175 pound deadlift. And really surprised with my upper body. I think this break from really consistently working out and training hard has been very good for it. My bench press is actually almost already up to what it was a couple of years ago before I really put on weight. And my lower body is lagging a little bit. I'm not surprised. It's got a lot more weight to move around. I'm heavier than I was then. But the increase in the numbers that I've seen in just the last couple of months that I've been consistently training is just better than I ever expected. So working a lot on hip and ankle mobility, as that's going to be, it's one of the things that I'm seeing an issue with, is specifically my feet. So working really hard on that, putting in good strong work and waiting for those results to keep coming in. And of course, as far as a Jackson update, we actually pet watched, pet sit, whatever you want to call it, our good friend Remy, who stayed with us for a week and a couple of days, something like that. He is a big, adorable chocolate lab who is just huge. Great time. Jackson and him really get along well and have a lot of fun and fight over food, so it's great. So my stock market portfolio. We all know that the idea of it is to function as a long-term dividend growth portfolio. That's what my goal was with it, working on getting those dividends in and increasing them to that goal of $2,000 a month. I focus the majority of my money into the finance and real estate sectors, and did not do so hot at the end of the month. My portfolio actually hit $30,000. It has been teetering just on that line for the last month or so, and it finally hit it, and I was very, very excited. And then we all know that the market went down, and my portfolio ended up dropping about 3.5% total. So not $30,000 yet. But when it does, I am very excited to break down my entire $30,000 dividend portfolio, show you what stocks I'm invested in, how I manage that in my spreadsheets, because there's more than one, and the nerd in me is very, very happy with this, because I geek out on the spreadsheets. I love the number parts of it. That's why I'm investing the way that I am. So as far as my investments, we are looking at $29,276.07. So slight decrease from last month. As I said, my portfolio dropped down 3.5% at the end of November. I'm assuming that will correct into the new year and we will hit that $30,000 and move forward. So I earned just over $71 in dividends in total, and here is a breakdown of the different companies that I earned dividends from in November. And of course, I reinvested the dividends from October into my portfolio and bought shares with 3 different companies. So we have ticker symbol LTC, NNN, and NLY. So 1, 2, 3 shares on those, not on purpose in that order. And I've already earned a dividend off of the share that I purchased with LTC with their latest dividend, because they do a monthly dividend. So I'm excited about that. As far as home projects, I splurged and I bought a deep freezer for $120 off Facebook Marketplace. It fits perfectly in my garage/gym/home, and I'm working on figuring out how to organize that, put food in it, and working on building up my own food storage supply. And of course, now that we've passed Thanksgiving and we're moving on to Christmas, I've set up my small collection of Christmas decorations and my little township that keeps growing that I love. Since I was a little girl, I looked at these little buildings. My mother would take me to this garden feed supplies store in Podunk, Idaho. And they had this entire room with nothing but just these small ceramic houses and towns and decoration little thingies, and the girl in me was like, oh! So of course, building that out, my mom's helping me quite a bit with that. And of course, Jackson has his own stocking. Thank you, Mom. She made the one for me and the one for Jackson after I got him last year. So as far as goals for 2022, I feel like it's going to be a roller coaster of a year for the first couple of months and then even out and see pretty good ending to it. I want to spend a lot of time specifically working on photos for stock photography websites. It's a little outside of the scope of nature, landscape, wildlife that I'm trying to focus on with my photography stuff, and it's going to force me to really work on my technique, get lighting down, and just think creatively outside of that. So that's something that I want to work on in 2022. I also want to plan on doing a backpacking trip and doing lots of trips outside to the mountains to explore, to hike, to fish, to camp, all those things. Once spring, summer hits, my schedule is going to open up quite a bit with work, and I will be able to do a lot more of that, and I'm excited. And then, of course, losing weight and packing on some muscles. It is big. I think the majority is going to happen the next few months here when we first get into the new year. So hopefully by the time I get all the way through my backlog of work and start into fresh projects, I will be in very good shape and able to hit the trails and just pound them out. So very excited for that. And then of course my long-term goals for the next 5 to 10 plus years is pay off my mortgage, be 100% debt free. So the only debt that I have right now is my mortgage, in fact. And my goal, my tentative goal, is to pay it off by 2030. That depends a lot on how the businesses go and all of that. But right now we are on track to hit it. Another goal that I have is to participate in a triathlon and a winter triathlon. There's two different things. I don't know, maybe just Idaho's weird and we have our own winter triathlon. But those are two long-term goals that I've had. And I don't think I'll get to them this year, but I will in the next 5 to 10 years complete both of those. And then, of course, my dividend portfolio, which the idea is that will be, the entire portfolio will be about $600,000 and generating about $2,000 in dividends a month. And that way I'm pulling about 4% out of that and maintaining that. So that is the long-term goal for my portfolio, my stock investments, and we're doing pretty good with that. As far as the mortgage goes, I'm about 9.5% of the way there. I'm about 4.8% there for my stock portfolio, and then about 3.6% for the dividends. I think the dividends will lag a little bit on different months because we know that January and April and every fourth month essentially is higher dividends. But as far as November goes, that's it for me. Excited for December. We've got Christmas coming up and we're doing a cookie decorating thing with all the munchkins, and I've started to pick out gifts for them and I'm really excited. So I will see you all next time. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful month. Bye!